Myknos. For centuries, this picturesque former pirate village, in the middle of the Cyclades group of islands, has been the meeting place for artists, V.I.Ps, and the international glitterati. The picture book splendor of the focal point of this half-moon-shaped island lies in a protected bay on its west coast. Here, the magnificence of Greece is fully revealed. The Cyclades Islands are situated in the middle of the South Aegean, which, like a magic circle, flows around its former center, the holy island of Delos. Of more than 220 islands, only 25 are populated, with a total of 100,000 inhabitants. However, during the summer months, millions of holidaymakers invade the islands to capture the delights of sun, sea, and sand. Cyclades villages are characterized by square-roofed houses, which are designed to collect the island's sparse rainwater and direct it into cisterns. Everywhere, brilliant white houses with their green, blue, red and yellow windows and doors, and the deep, rich blue of the sea. The Cyclades are also known as the Pearls of Greece. It seems as if the gods have scattered a handful of beautiful pearls into the deep blue Aegean Sea. In ancient times, they were also known as the Islands of Light, because Apollo, the god of light and learning, was born here and also worshipped on these islands. Today, small motorized tricycles are the most important mode of transport. By this means, people and goods are transported through the narrow streets. The rattling of their motors is a familiar sound. Next to the noisy souvenir haunts, the special charm of quieter attractions awaits, as well as some tucked-away sleepy corners. Five old windmills dominate the picture bay of Myknos. In earlier centuries, the town's millers not only supplied troops of soldiers and businessmen with fresh flour, but also pirates. Today, these windmills are the island's most fascinating landmark and are well preserved. Both small and large ferries frequently arrive in Myknos. The gleaming light and bright blue of the Aegean is almost blinding. Straight out of a picture book, the bay and the lively town of Myknos come to life, while fishing boats dance on the waves, and at the harbour there are rows of tavernas, one after the other. Ferries provide the main link between the islands and the Greek capital Athens. Aeroplanes are seldom seen or used on most of the islands. A special attraction is the district of Little Venice, the style of its buildings serving as a reminder of when the Venetians took possession of the island. To the south and southeast of the island there are beautiful sandy beaches, which on good roads are easily accessible by public bus, car and motorcycle. Value for money fish tavernas and hostels abound, as well as luxury hotels and restaurants, which pamper and cater for every whim for those who visit. Greek hospitality is renowned for this. The harbour is always a popular venue. It's where people meet for a chat and to be seen, and where housewives can buy fresh vegetables and fish. There's a lot of choice and something for every mood. The pelican, Paros II, is the town's mascot. He resides in the harbour. Neither the traffic nor the people can disturb his tranquility. In the evening, holidaymakers stroll through the narrow and colourful streets, past tavernas and bars. Everywhere the shops offer everything imaginable. Of special interest are the icons, portrayals of holy pictures and plaques. Icons are created according to ancient and strict rules, in which the creative ideas of the artist must be set aside. In ancient Greece, each island was an autonomous state. Later, Alexander the Great unified them into a massive kingdom. Then followed the Romans, Venetians, Genoese and Turks. It was only in 1829 that the Cyclades were included in the unification of the Greek islands. As throughout the centuries, the donkey carries its burden quietly in its stride. Like the island's inhabitants, he knows of no hurry or urgency. Time seems to pass ever more slowly. As a matter of course, housewives haggle with fishermen over the price of their lunch. The harbour is always lively. A daily ritual, fishermen prepare to go on their nocturnal expeditions. Slowly the ferry to the island of Delos leaves the protection of the harbour, glides past Myknos and out into the open sea. Half an hour later, the ferry arrives in this uninhabited island. In ancient times, the rocky and infertile island of Delos was the cultural and at times commercial centre of the Cyclades Islands. Today, only a few security guards and their families live here, protecting Greece's most extensive excavation region. Deservedly, Delos is known as the Pompeii of the Aegean. Long since deserted temples, public buildings, houses and streets still conjure up the atmosphere of this once flourishing cultural and trading town. The large theatre was a symbol of Greek culture and wealth. In the history of the Greek world, Delos played an important role as birthplace of Apollo and Artemis, and as the center of the Attic Delian Sea Union, as a cultural center and place of pilgrimage, and also as an important trading center. Delos became the center of the slave trade in the eastern Mediterranean area. During their heyday, the island's slave markets traded 10,000 bewildered slaves each day. At the northern tip of the ancient town, the residential area extends up the slope, with magnificent houses like the House of Inopos, and also streets which contained a sewage system. Of the archaic Heraion temple, no more than a few pillars and an offertory remain. The center of the Hera cult was founded at around 500 BC and was built on top of an earlier building. The ascent over a steep, narrow stone stairway to the 112-meter-high island mountain of Kinthos is tiring, but the effort is rewarded with an indescribable panoramic view over the island and various excavations. Excavations uncovered houses of which the inner courtyards were decorated with mosaics. They depicted a variety of images, such as dolphins, tigers, tridents, and religious scenes. The houses vary in size, style, form, and comfort, but each one has a yard, usually with colonnades, which provided light and air for the surrounding rooms. In the afternoon, visitors must leave the island again. A final view of the past, of a large cosmopolitan harbour town in the Mediterranean. And soon the ferry brings us to the next island. Naxos, the largest of the Cyclades islands, with bubbling springs and gentle flowing streams, colourful fields and fertile valleys. On Naxos, the gods have created a masterpiece of nature. Different to its scant island neighbours, here a wealth of water, fruit and vegetables flourish in abundance. Not surprisingly, these are the main temptations for its visitors. The main centre of the islands is both inviting and welcoming, Naxos town. This picturesque old harbour town boasts streets adorned with flowers, white Cyclades houses, a hilltop Venetian castle, and colourful harbour tavernas. Here, all the world seems at peace. Steep, narrow streets lead up to the 50-metre-high hill. Past several houses, some of which bear the coat of arms of various Franconian aristocratic families. Without any formal planning, a city gradually developed here. Framed by thick whitewashed walls, charming inner courtyards give a feeling of peace and tranquility. Venetian influence is evident by numerous steps and balconies. Due to its central and fertile location, the island's Venetian founders chose it to be their main seat of government in 1207 and made Naxos the capital of the Cyclades duchy, which survived for 360 years. Their leader, Marco Sanudo, subsequently had a new fortress built close to the Acropolis. Next, the duchy fell to the Turks, but in reality it remained Venetian, as the occupying forces were only interested in collecting taxes. Through the centuries of Turkish occupation, there were ongoing struggles for freedom, and finally, on the 6th of May 1821, a revolution was proclaimed. The gentle colours and enchanting aromas of these tiny front gardens add to the living authenticity of this place. A Greek dream becomes reality. The main priority of the people who established this settlement was to create the best possible defense in case of pirate or other attack, and these took place all too frequently. Castro is a citadel which contains houses. the outer walls of which once formed the keep. The external walls are 1.5 meters thick at the top and nearly 2.5 meters thick at the base. Entry can only be gained through wooden gates which date back 700 years. The partially roofed alleyways were designed to enable a quick escape over the rooftops. Only by donkey can any form of transport be carried out here. The inhabitants of Naxos have always dedicated themselves to nature. They've tilled the fields and protected their animals. Not wishing to roam the world as sailors, they have simply gone to sea as fishermen to provide the population with food and nutrition. In the mountains, the mining of emery brought great wealth to the island's inhabitants. This product was in great demand with traders from all over the world. The houses were built on steep, slanting rocks. To keep out of the cold, the windows are on the outside and the shutters on the inside. The balconies provide a good all-round view. Cafes, restaurants, banks and souvenir shops feature all along the harbour. However, business life only commences when the heat of the day has subdued, and therefore does not come to an end until after midnight. Rocky bays surround the town on both sides of the harbour. Palatia can only be reached by crossing a dam. Here the island's landmark is prominent, the Portara. The colossal marble temple gate still shines golden yellow in the late afternoon light, and the ruins gleam in the fading sun. But soon the burning circle of the sun descends calmly into the tides of the Aegean Sea. In the summer holiday months, night turns to day. During the day, sun and sea. In the evening, a tempting choice of restaurants and shops. On Naxos, the island of the gods, even today many pleasures await those who come here. Natural, unspoiled landscapes and friendly hospitality that comes straight from the heart. Dreamy good fortune under the Greek sun. In the harbour, island hoppers wait for a ferry which will take them to the next island. Paros, the White Island. In Perikia harbour, the sails of a windmill give a calm, welcoming wave. The oldest and largest church on the island dates back to the 6th century. Katapoliani, church of 100 gates, is strongly connected with Byzantine history. This jewel of the Greek Orthodox Church was built on the remains of the Heracles Temple. To protect its priests from possible pirate attack, the church was later extended into a monastery. In the mixed style of a basilica and a cathedral, the three-door nave has a striking effect. In the early Christian baptisterium, which was built onto the church, there is a sunken font in the form of a massive cross on the ground. In traditional manner, the child to be baptized is totally immersed in water. This historic graveyard was only recently discovered during excavation. As a lasting memorial, the urns, graves, and sarcophagus remain at the place where they were first discovered. The Archaeological Museum houses a collection of historic discoveries which have been made on the island. Gravestones from the 5th century BC, stone sculptures and heads carved from marble. In classical times, Paros was the richest island in the Aegean. Marble was also mined here, the quality of which was unique to the island. Paros is also one of the most fertile of the islands. Wine, oil, potatoes and pulses are all produced here. Today, 9 monks reside in the Moni Longovardas monastery, entry to which is prohibited to women. The monastery contains ancient frescoes and icons. The double-storied arcades of the inner courtyard exude tranquility and peace. To the northwest, the journey takes us to a large fishing bay. This is the island's secondary town, dreamy and secluded with thousands of years of history. Noosa probably possesses the most beautiful harbour in the Cyclades. Here, colourful fishing boats lie anchored tightly together, and natural tavernas complete the romantic scene. Fishermen sit together mending nets and prepare for their next voyage. Paros has developed into being the hub of the ferry service and has thus become the 3rd largest holiday island after Myknos and Santorini. Santorini, the most southerly of the Cyclades islands. Legendary location of the mythical lost island of Atlantis, and also a breathtaking island paradise of rock, lava, sea and light. Survival here meant a constant battle against the forces of nature. The unique dimensions of Santorini are due to a natural disaster of devastating proportion. Over 3,500 years ago, a volcanic eruption sank most of the island beneath the sea. A bizarre crater rim remained known as the caldera, crescent-shaped, and at different points protruding between 150 and 300 meters out of the sea. The resultant steep coastline offers spectacular views. Its rocky crater walls emerge almost vertically, on top of which the white houses and domed churches of the island's main town, Fira, seem to cling to the extinct volcano. the narrow streets there are rows of jewellery and souvenir shops, bars and viewing terraces, all of which are frequented by hordes of tourists in the summer months. How easy it is to forget that one is walking on the rim of a volcanic crater. Far below, cruise ships arrive daily and anchor in the azure-coloured bay. From high up on the crater's edge, these large cruise ships look like tiny boats. For conventional anchors, the caldera is too deep, and so the luxury cruise ships are forced to use long mooring ropes attached to several buoys. From the harbour, a steep path of 569 steps leads up to the town. Rushing by, guides offer a mule ride up to the town. To be carried on the back of a mule up a volcano and over hundreds of steps is an extraordinary experience, almost an adventure, and certainly a thrill, as the route is somewhat precipitous. The constant swaying to and fro is not exactly reassuring, but finally, in repayment of our courageous efforts, a variety of terrace cafes offer refreshment and a superb view. For some years there has also been a modern gondola lift, which goes to the rim of the crater in only a few minutes, right into the centre of Fira. In the small harbour of Caldera's Asia Bay, during the morning and late afternoon, peace reigns supreme at the foot of the volcano. From here, many excursion boats leave for the surrounding islands. Even the two lifeless-looking lava islands are worth a boat trip. Larger ferries provide a regular service to the remotest island villages. They are often the island's only contact with the outside world. But their inhabitants are used to this kind of existence, and it's of no real importance to them that more than 200 of the Cyclades islands are uninhabited. Free from hubbub and stress, on this colourful sailing boat, a fisherman examines a net which will be used during his nighttime fishing trip. Almost as soon as its cargo has been discharged, a ferry is loaded again and departs from the bay to continue on its voyage. Without a doubt, it will be travelling to the many other island ports that are dependent upon its safe arrival. Everywhere, mules wait patiently for their next unsuspecting passengers. For the mules, their daily journey up and down is certainly not a dance on the volcano. But the volcano is not totally extinct. During its last eruption, dust and ash clouds darkened the sky for months, and a tidal wave wreaked havoc throughout the Aegean. In spite of this, Santorini is a lively island, dedicated to the tourist industry. The comfortable, ultra-modern cable car speedily and continuously transports its passengers to and from the harbour. What could be better than to sit here dreamily enjoying the view? Was it not the Greek god Poseidon who, with his trident, threw a handful of rocks onto the seabed, which took root there and created the Cyclades?